Trump's January 6 pardons undermined rule of law. The sweeping pardons at the very start of Trump's term in office were an extraordinary move on his part, experts say. Pardons are typically thought of as something that happens towards the end of an administration, said Aimee Ghosh, partner at the public policy practice of international law firm Pillsbury and a government law expert. Historically, you don't see pardons being a huge focus of day one actions, although sometimes presidents sign pardons throughout their term, especially in connection with legislation that decriminalizes a certain action, she told yahoo. This was not the case with those convicted in connection with the January 6 attacks. Attacking police officers remains a grave offense under U.S. law. So why did Trump sign a full, complete, and unconditional pardon, as it is worded in his decree, for almost all participants in the attack on the Capitol? Trump has always maintained that the criminal defendants were simply victims of a campaign by his opponents. In the first TV interview that he gave in his second term, with the Trump-friendly broadcaster Fox News, he spoke of unnecessarily harsh prison conditions suffered by those convicted. He also asserted that they had just been protesting the vote and you should be allowed to protest the vote. When the host suggested that demonstrators should not be allowed to enter the Capitol, Trump said that most of the people were absolutely innocent. Joseph Margulies, a professor of the practice of government at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, says it is impossible to work out whether Trump really believes that, whether the pardons are an act of political calculation or whether they are a mixture of both. But Margulies says the pardons fit in well with Trump's overall style. Trump's particular brand of muscular populism and in-your-face nationalism thrives on taking positions that thumb their nose at certain conventions, Margulies said. That narrative of not just ignoring conventions but smashing them is his brand, and doing it in a way that attempts to rewrite history in a manner that's congenial to his base. And this, the pardons, is of a piece with that, he added. The convicts were mostly Trump supporters who believed his lie, which has been confirmed as such by several courts, that the Democrats had stolen the 2020 election and that he, Trump, had been the true winner. On January 6, 2021, Congress lawmakers were involved in certifying Joe Biden's election victory when a furious mob fought its way into the Capitol building. Shortly before this, Trump had given a speech nearby in which he reiterated that he was the winner and called on his supporters to march on the Capitol. 4 Trump supporters died during or ahead of the attack. One police officer suffered 2 strokes in the wake of the events and died a short time afterward. 4 other police officers who had been on the scene committed suicide in the weeks and months following the Capitol attack. Trump was officially accused by the lower house of Congress, the House of Representatives, of inciting the insurrection, but the Republican-majority Senate ended up acquitting him. All lawbreaking not equal. A U.S. president's right to issue pardons is based on the realization that the law can be cruel, said Margulies. The president has the power to show mercy. But what message does it send when the president shows this mercy to supporters who violently forced their way into the U.S. Capitol? The recent pardons have substantially undermined the rule of law in the U.S., wrote Bernadette Myler. I think we can expect that governmental officials as well as regular people will feel authorized to act illegally in service of Trump's policy goals, including his immigration policy, and expect to be pardoned. Dangerous precedent. Margulies said that the pardons are not a commentary on the rule of law in the U.S., which is, however, not as neutral as many believe. If you take a more critical approach to the rule of law, you recognize that the rule of law is always political. Of course, the rule of law is manipulated for political gain in this case, he said. This particular use of the pardon power is extraordinary, but that's not a commentary on the rule of law, it's a commentary on Donald Trump, he added. But Trump's recent pardons will have far-reaching consequences, according to Margulies, as they will change what people expect as reasonable or normal.